Have you ever wondered why Earth is filled with giant trees, colorful flowers, flying birds, enormous whales, and nearly 9 billion humans? What if I told you that all of them may exist because of one tiny organism that most people don't even think about? Bacteria. Tiny, microscopic cells that are invisible to the naked eye. Today, bacteria are everywhere. They're in the soil beneath your feet. They're floating in the air. They're inside your body. In fact, trillions of bacteria are living in and on you right now. Some help you digest food. Some protect you from harmful microbes. Others recycle nutrients throughout our planet. But billions of years ago, bacteria were much more than tiny organisms. They were the only major form of life on Earth. And without them, there would be no forests, no dinosaurs, no birds, no dogs, no cats, and no humans. The incredible part is that they didn't build our world by becoming stronger. They built it by learning to work together. But how did simple bacteria eventually give rise to every complex living organism on Earth? Let's travel back billions of years to discover one of the greatest stories ever written by evolution. Imagine Earth about 3.8 billion years ago. It looked nothing like the world we know today. There were no green forests, no oceans filled with fish, no insects buzzing through flowers, no mammals, no reptiles, no humans. Instead, the planet was a harsh world of volcanoes, storms, shallow seas, and an atmosphere very different from today's. Somewhere in those ancient oceans, life appeared. Scientists are still investigating exactly how the first life formed, but the earliest organisms were incredibly simple. They were single cells. Tiny living structures capable of growing, using energy, and reproducing. These ancient microbes eventually evolved into bacteria. For nearly 2 billion years, Earth remained a planet dominated by microscopic life. Generation after generation. One cell divided into two. 2 became 4. 4 became 8. This cycle continued for billions of years. Life remained small, simple, and alone. If intelligent aliens had visited Earth during that time, they might have concluded that life on this planet would never become anything more than tiny microbes. But evolution had a surprise waiting. One day, something unusual happened. Some bacteria divided, but instead of separating completely, they stayed attached. It wasn't a decision. They didn't wake up and think, let's build a civilization. It happened because of random genetic mutations. Normally, when one cell divides, the new cells separate and live independently. But occasionally, mutations cause daughter cells to remain connected. At first, this probably seemed meaningless. Just another random accident. But evolution has an extraordinary habit. Sometimes accidents become advantages. And advantages become revolutions. Why would staying together matter? Imagine you're a tiny bacterium floating alone in an ancient ocean. Everything around you wants to eat you. Food is scarce. Conditions constantly change. Life is difficult. Now imagine being part of a group. Suddenly you're larger. Predators find it harder to consume you. Resources can be shared. The colony can better withstand environmental stress. Some colonies even move more efficiently than single cells. None of this happened because bacteria planned it. It happened because colonies that accidentally cooperated often survived better. And survival is everything in evolution. Those successful colonies reproduced more. Their genes spread. Generation after generation. Over millions of years, cooperation became increasingly common. As these colonies grew larger, something even more remarkable happened. The cells began specializing. Imagine trying to run an entire city by yourself. You would need to be the doctor, the engineer, the teacher, the farmer, the electrician, the police officer, the pilot. It's impossible. Modern cities work because people specialize. The same thing happened inside these ancient colonies. Instead of every cell doing every job, some cells became better at movement. Others focused on gathering food. Some specialized in protection. Others handled reproduction. Each cell sacrificed independence. But the entire colony became far more powerful. This was one of evolution's greatest inventions. Division of labor. Exactly the same principle that allows modern companies, hospitals, governments, and space agencies to function today. The more specialized the cells became, the more dependent they became on one another. Eventually, a single cell could no longer survive alone. It needed the rest of the colony. At that moment, a new form of life had been born. The first multicellular organisms. But the story doesn't end there. In fact, the most unbelievable chapter was only beginning. Inside almost every cell in your body lives a tiny structure called the mitochondrion. You've probably heard it called the powerhouse of the cell. It produces the energy that powers everything you do. Every heartbeat, every breath, every blink, every memory, every thought you're having while watching this video. Without mitochondria, complex life simply wouldn't exist. But here's the astonishing part. Scientists believe mitochondria were once free-living bacteria. Billions of years ago, a larger cell swallowed one. Normally, the bacterium would have been digested. Instead, something extraordinary happened. The bacterium survived. Rather than competing, the two organisms formed a partnership. The bacterium became an expert energy producer. The larger cell offered protection and nutrients. Both benefited. Generation after generation, their relationship became permanent. The bacterium gradually lost its independence and eventually evolved into what we now call the mitochondrion. Today, nearly every cell in your body carries descendants of those ancient bacteria. Think about that for a moment. The energy powering your brain right now comes from microscopic structures whose ancestors were once free-living bacteria swimming through ancient oceans billions of years ago. Scientists call this remarkable explanation the endosymbiotic theory. It is one of the greatest discoveries in biology. Once multicellular life appeared, evolution accelerated. Simple colonies became increasingly complex. Some evolved into plants, others into fungi, others into animals. Fish appeared, then forests, then insects. Dinosaurs ruled the earth. Mammals evolved. Eventually, one branch produced creatures capable of asking questions about their own existence. Us, human beings. Every skyscraper, every airplane, every computer, every piece of music, every scientific discovery can trace its origins back through billions of years to tiny bacteria that accidentally discovered the power of cooperation. Now here's the most remarkable part. Bacteria didn't have intelligence. They didn't have language. They didn't have governments. They didn't have technology. Yet evolution consistently favored cooperation whenever it improved survival. Cells that worked together survived longer. Cells that specialized became stronger. Together, they achieved what no single cell could ever accomplish alone. They built every forest, every coral reef, every elephant, every eagle, every whale, every human being. There's an incredible lesson hidden inside that story. Look at your own body. Around 37 trillion cells are working together every second. Your heart doesn't compete with your lungs. Your brain doesn't fight your kidneys. Your liver doesn't try to replace your eyes. Every organ has a different role. Every cell performs a different job. Yet all of them cooperate toward one purpose: keeping you alive. If just one major organ completely stopped cooperating, the entire body would suffer. Human civilization works in much the same way. Farmers grow food. Teachers share knowledge. Engineers build bridges. Doctors save lives. Scientists expand our understanding of the universe. None of us can build civilization alone. Competition can inspire innovation. It can push us to improve. But cooperation is what builds civilizations. Nature has been teaching this lesson for billions of years. The organisms that transformed Earth weren't always the strongest. They were often the ones that found ways to work together. Perhaps that's a lesson worth remembering. In a world often divided by conflict, the smallest organisms that ever lived still have one of the biggest lessons to teach humanity. Real strength isn't found in standing alone. Real strength is found in building something together that no one could ever build alone. And maybe that's the greatest achievement bacteria ever gave the world. Not just life, but the power of cooperation itself. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more science videos that reveal the incredible stories hidden all around us. And tell us in the comments, what amazed you most, that every cell in your body carries the legacy of ancient bacteria, or that cooperation helped shape all complex life on Earth? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.